Hi, welcome to the intellectual discourse series on cultural diplomacy by the National Department for Culture and Arts, Malaysia. To begin with, let me introduce myself. My name is Abdul HAMID, a music consultant by profession. I was a professor in music before at the University of Malaysia Sabah and University of Malaysia Kelantan, and has actively managed the Faculty of Music and the Center for Postgraduate Studies. My presentation today will describe and prescribe the art of music craftsmanship, or the making of music instruments by people within the community who are actively producing or creating music products out of the music cottage industry concept. We will explore insights of these activities from the point of creative senses to product commercialization by the skilled and self-taught entrepreneurs, despite the production is in the absence of the modern technology and the constraints of infrastructures. This discourse aims to create a foundation for further investigation and exploration for the music cottage industry to find its way into the mainstream industry, particularly of the Malaysian music industry. Let's begin with a brief understanding of the term music cottage industry. It's an industry from home. It is a small, loosely organized industry with poor infrastructures. For example, the makeshift huts, the simple wooden workshops with unorganized assets. It is an activity of producing music instruments from home by members of family units, the friends and members of the village. And this is the context of self-employment. However, most of them are skilled artisans in which the knowledge of instrument making is passed on through generation. In terms of equipment and technology, traditional and conventional tools are used widely. For example, the hammers, the hand scrapers, the calipers, the saws, the drills, epoxy glues, etc., etc. These tools replace the modern technology, replacing the computers and also the softwares. Hand drawings and sketches on papers and woods replaces the software application. In the context of financial implication, it is a low-cost business structure. It is self-funded. Some are aided while some are not. The production techniques are more traditional and less cost-effective. However, the products created are really impressive, worthy of value for money, and fulfills the context of instrument playability. All activities are done in huts and workshops, at home, by the family members and friends. The question is, why did they do it? It's because of passion and a form of leisure activity. A farmer by morning and craftsman by noon. Some of them are dedicated musicians and some of them, they are music enthusiasts. When will they do it? It is when they are request or demand. They are unable to keep stocks due to financial constraint, since it is self-funded unless aided by related sponsors, department, or organization. And how do they do it? The conventional way, manually with conventional tools. So, what about it today? As spectrums of knowledge and technology evolves rapidly, from the point of continuity and change, the tradition of music craftsmanship continues, although some faded away. Activities are done with similar concepts and context. That is, it is a family-run business in huts, in workshops, with low technology and conventional tools. It is done with similar purpose to sustaining a family or the household income. It is self-funded. However, today, some are aided by organizations such as the Petronas, by the National Department of Culture and Arts, or supported by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, specifically for outstanding or the unique innovative product, for example, the bamboo saxophone of Sabah. Senses of creativity and innovation has always been a factor of pride. For example, embracing the local arts and cultural aesthetic values, and senses of innovation too, as demonstrated by the artisans, ought to be perceived as an element of dynamism and productive. It enriches the product characteristics while adorning intrinsic values of art in music instrument making. Now, let's take a look at some example. The making of gambus instrument in Batu Pahat, Johor by Khalid and Isnin Gambus is a short-neck, pear-shaped string instrument widely used in ghazal music, a popular genre in Johor. It is actively produced in Batu Pahat, Johor. Originally, the motifs of cosmetics bearing Arab influences. However, today, it has changed to adorning Malaysian flora theme, which is identical to the Malay culture and tradition. It is an indicator to local product and identity. Making of gambus uses locally sourced wood and are constructed in workshops at home. It is manually done in a traditional way, and products emerged from this workshop has evidently had its own market appeal, particularly of the local gambus players. The gambus makers in this district have proven expertise in this field and continue to adhere to traditional methods of making. In fact, the activity was recognized and accorded the Geographical Indication Register by the Malaysian Intellectual Property Organization, or MYPO, in 2019. This is a recognition of pride to the music craftsman. The next sample of creative senses in music craftsmanship is the making of somporton instrument in Sabah. These are works of transforming from a pentatonic instrument to diatonic. Somporton is a mouth organ aerophonic instrument originated in the state of Sabah and performed by the Kedasan, Dusun, and Murut community. It is made from a gourd and several small bamboo pipes, and the folk tales of Sompot, the creator of Somporton, has its evidence on how a sound from bamboo could finally become a cultural heritage of the Kedasan Dusudik community. Typical Somporton is in pentatonic. However, Ramin Marasan, a craftsman from Tamparuli, Sabah, transformed the instrument from pentatonic to diatonic by way of reconstructing the physical features of the instrument, thus bringing new musical dimension in the art of Somporton performance. The new product, spurred by the creative senses of the craftsman, enables Somporton to be performed today on much wider repertoires, including of the Western genres, not limited to pentatonics anymore. The next that we are going to observe are the creative senses in music craftsmanship in the making of Rebana Ubi at Kampung Marak, Kelantan, which has been observed as a fascinating activity despite complexities in construction processes. Rebana Ubi originated from Kelantan. It is a single-headed big drum measuring approximately a meter high and 70 centimeters in diameter. This majestic drum is a colorful instrument, well decorated with impressionistic cosmetic appearances. Rebana Ubi produces throbbing sound, pounded on a systematic rhythmic structure into interwoven or interlocking rhythmic patterns. It is performed in a group of 6, and it is made from local wood that can be found in the local forest. Lengths of rattan is used to reinforce tensions to the skin, stretched over the surface of the drums. The cosmetic decorations on the drum indicates fine work of art and sustainability of traditional culture in which floral theme and motifs are drawn and painted brightly onto the drums, which is colorfully and brightly painted, giving the drums a vibrant, impressionistic outlook. The complexities to making Rebana Ubi proves to be a challenge to the craftsman. From getting good quality woods, then to bore the trunk of the wood to create a hollow internal structure that will function as a resonator when the dried buffalo skin is stretched onto the surface of the drum. Lengths of rattan are then used to reinforce tensions of the skin, and to reinforce it, a big wooden hammer is pounded onto each wood wedges that holds the rattan, pulling the skin at the base of the drum. By this process of wedges pounding, tensions are reinforced to the desired tone and sound. There are more than 10 wood wedges in each drum, and these wedges too functions to support the base of the drum. The finishing process requires creativity when aspects of cosmetics and decorations are considered. Elements of painting and drawing of flowers will finally give the instrument an exceptional and vibrant outlook. It's a hard job, requires hard work and strength. The manual way and conventional process of making the instrument may take weeks or months to complete a single drum. The next instrument making is the process of making acoustic guitar in Kampung Dawangan, Solo, Indonesia. It is a demonstration of a manual-made guitar versus the factory-made for mass production. A demonstration in the application of high technology versus the conventional methods, applying conventional tools such as the sharps, knives, scrapers, claw hammers, circular saw, jigsaw, a wood sander, wood scrapers, sandpapers, and etc. Imported wood, for example maple, are used in this making. The initial process is to sketch the guitar design onto lengths of papers or onto the wood plate for quick reference. And the job begins by cutting the wood plate with jigsaw and circular saw for the guitar body plate. And then the setting up of body bridges and fixing joints with strong epoxy glue. For the guitar heads, sketches of the heads are drawn onto the wood and is carefully cut using the jigsaws. Wood scrapers and knives are then used to refine the cuts. These are complex processes to ensure producing quality products. Upon full assembly of these parts, all edges and joints are refined using steel scrapers, while the rough surfaces are treated with variety textures of sandpapers. These delicate processes are manually done. As the passionate craftsmen confess, the human touch on every inch or part of the instrument structure is being felt by the hands, and this is a passionate method to deal with when making an instrument. Music cottage industry too contributed to sectors of tourism. The Saung Angklung Pak Ojo in Bandung, Indonesia, for example, has demonstrated the evidence of successful commercialization of products while creating places of interest for tourist attraction. Saung Pak Ojo is popular for angklung instrument making. Angklung is an idiophonic rattle instrument made from bamboo from a species called bambu hitam, and each angklung unit consists of several assembled bamboo tubes or the voice tubes that produces sounds of different pitches or notes. Angklung is handmade and manually done with traditional technology and conventional tools, for example, the knives, the iron scrapers, the rulers, saws, pencil, etc. And initial process is to choose and to cut the right bamboo and to store it to dry for a week. And then it is cut to various lengths and sizes and stored it again for about a year to protect against termites by sinking the bamboo beneath the mud-filled pool or by smoking it in a fireplace. Prepared bamboo are then cut into parts required for the assembly of an angklung unit. Each unit may consist of 2, 3, 4, or 5 bamboo parts or voice tubes, dependable on the type of units. For example, the melody unit, the chords, the bass, and each part is tightened to the frame using rattan strips. The final phase is the delicate process of voice tube tuning, using a tuner and a knife that whittles onto specific point of bamboo little by little until it reaches the desired tone. Making of angklung instruments at Saung Pak Ojo in Bandung is observed as a thriving cottage industry. This is attributable to the business concept of instrument making in the precinct or in the angklung village, the business concept of demonstrating and performances of angklung groups at the in-house arena, exhibiting angklung instruments in gallery and showrooms, and most of all, it gives employment to local community, mostly on full-time, since there is a great demand and supply. The product from this cottage industry is exported to neighboring countries, and the concept of music cottage business has successfully made Bandung a tourist destination. It is a place where tourists may observe the making of instruments while enjoying the concert and learning performances techniques in the precinct itself. This business concept is capable to generate income not only to the family but also contributing to generating the creative economy of the city or of the country. Now, let's examine the creative and innovative senses of Filipus Jani, a craftsman from Tambunan village in Sabah, in the art of making a bamboo saxophone he called as somporing. When we look at a somporing, the first impression of a structural outlook of somporing is undoubtedly the Western saxophone. It is made from bamboo species called the rugading or kuning, and the word som of the somporing is perceived as the act of blowing, while poring, literally meaning bamboo in its local dialect of Kedazan Dusun. A complete assembly of somporing instrument may consist of 20 bamboo parts, dependable on the size of it. The bigger the somporing is, the bigger bamboo is required. For example, the tenor somporing. It is artistically crafted based on physical structures of a Western saxophone. And again, the constructions of somporing are in workshops, in small huts, with conventional tools such as circular and jigsaw, the spanners, pliers, rulers, glues, cutters, calipers, drills, and even pencils and knives. The process begins with the selection of good bamboo, and then to treat it naturally by drying it under the hot sun on the zinc rooftop of the house, few weeks or months. Hot weather is needed for this process to ensure durability of bamboos. No chemical is used as it is hazardous to the blowers. The good, dried and strong bamboos are then selected over the decayed ones for cutting processes of somporing assembly parts. Sketches of saxophone structure are drawn on to papers or plywood for quick reference. They are the structures of the crook, the main body, and the bell or the horn structure. The parts of these structures are divided accordingly, which is then carefully measured using the calipers, rulers, and pencils. 20 parts are then identified, and the cutting process begins using a handsaw and knives. And these parts are then systematically attached in sequence and glued to one another to be assembled as one instrument known as the somporing. Complexities of construction are fixing processes of lever keys using modified bicycle spokes and the critical assembly of the curves adjoining the main body to the horn. Constructions of horns is a delicate task as the horn structure is projected upwards and outwards. However, a precise measurement on parts of the curves adjoining the main body to the horn structure enables this part insert to one another and glued in sequence that finally constructs a complete structure of a somporing. Undeniably, the shape of the horn has the reference to Western saxophone bell. However, as Philip or the craftsman refuted that the similarities are by chance, as somporing's bell is inspired by the shape of a pitcher plant found in the tropical forest and peat swamps in Sabah, known as periok kera, or in scientific term, it is known as Nepenthes. The species Nepenthes mirabilis has been seen as closely associated to the bell. Hence, the horn or the bell is a definitive imagination of Sabah's flora, and this has been strongly asserted by Philip that making of somporing embraces the nature and heritage. Such a delicate and creative process in the making of somporing, vital values of patience, the power of critical thinking, and most importantly, the idea of creativity and innovation is a demanding factor in its construction process. Production of this unique instrument too is a spectacle of the mastery craftsmanship of the artisan. Somporing, since it is made from selected bamboo, it produces sound tones and character which can be described as silky, dark tones on low notes, but bright, edgy, and sparkling tones on the high notes. It is perceived as a traditional contemporary music instrument, embracing the nature and heritage, and was well received by the community. In fact, there was great demand for the instrument by local and international tourists who visited his hut and workshop. The creativity and innovation by Philip was recognized by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, or MOSTI. Aids and grants were presented to further these initiatives. As part of the promotion and product dissemination, several presentations to professional performances have successfully proved that Somporing is a class by itself. And the success story of Somporing was given due recognition by the Sabah Tourism Board when Philip was brought to Japan for a special appearance for the Sabah Tourism Program. From the discussions we have, it is obviously seen that factors of the art and aesthetic are an intact factor in music instrument making. In terms of sound aesthetics, producing of good quality sound is greatly considered, as sound and tone character of an instrument are centricities to particular instrument or ensemble, for example, the chuks and the chaks, the gambus, or the rebana ubi. Cosmetics and decorations on local flora and fauna motifs, which are often associated or embedded in instrument, gives values and pride to local and national motifs appreciation. It is an enthralling component constituting to the values of instrumental aesthetics. The stylistic design, the cosmetic decorations, and the artistic work by the creative artisan demonstrates the creative mastery of craftsmanship and a comprehension of art and cultural appreciation. Thus, music instrument making, in this case, involves the embrace of nature, the culture, and heritage. It is an effort to be reckoned with. Beyond the cottage industry concept to sustaining the village's economy, it is of the views that music making has been seen as a form of entertainment or a leisure ethic that has become one of the more enduring ideological and economic conflicts for the musical instrument trade. The concept of leisure activities has been seen as a form of entertainment, perhaps perceivable as factors mitigating and propagating to senses of creativity and innovativity among the craftsmen. Application of traditional technology with conventional tools in music instrument making creates the feeling of tradition and expresses pride in one's culture. Evidently, production of instrument does not have specific time frame, as it is done on more labor hours and flexible working capacity. Added to this, the values of feeling, appreciation, and passion has considerably contributing to the exploration of creativity senses. In the context of commercial preference and attributes, despite the fact that productions are from home with poor infrastructures and traditional technology, however, the creative craftsman has the capability to produce quality and unique work of art. They have the capability to produce stylistic work of art with aesthetic values embedded in them. And they have the capability to produce quality, practical, and functionable instruments for performances. The main ideal of handmade instrument is the quality of sound and playability. Quality standards are measured onto the sound produced, although some instruments are made from different material sources. How playable is the instrument practically? To the equation of factory-made products, performances, for example, the guitar. Durability, that is the ability to hold up against unpredictable conditions, though material resources are well treated. Durability too, dependable on the degree of care by the user. These combining factors of instrument appearances and playability creates potentials for commercialization of the products. The context of value for money justifies these facts. For product commercialization, it is based on supply upon request or manufacture upon demand. However, making of instruments is consistent in their daily routine to store minimum stock production for unpredictable client or demand. As music cottage industry is a loosely organized industry, the structures of marketing and promotion are often done by the demonstration of instrument performances in public performance, in festivals or special events, by creating performance group for public performances in the spheres of community events, local tourism events, and also the ceremonial events. By associating itself with the local Department of Arts and Culture and Tourism for information dissemination, research and publication by interested music enthusiasts or by the people of academic interest. By the way of promotion and recommendation by the agents or the third party, and of course through the online platform marketing and social media promotion. In the context of tagging the price, it should be noted that the products reflects its real value for money. In terms of labor and overhead, a homemade product uses more labor hour than factory hour. Factory instruments are made for wholesaling and price markups, but homemade instruments are priced so the maker can survive. This is the context to sustaining the family or the household income. Logical pricing, other than overheads, are usually based upon the values of creativity, the uniqueness of instruments, the appreciation to culture and heritage, and of course the playability of instruments. As a summary, evidently the cottage industry in music business appears to be rewarding, stirring and elevating people's economy by way of producing creative work despite the small-scale business concept. Some of the businesses are aided by related authorities while others survive in isolation. The homes and the hearts are production factories, while the calipers, pliers and scrapers are the technology. Generally, activation for productions are triggered by or upon a specific demand or request. It's worthy to point out that aspects of musical legacy and cultural preservation has always been nurtured, cultivated and cherished by the craftsman, while aspects of creativity and inventive expressions has been seen as a manifestation to artistic inspiration in craftsmanship process. In the context of standard and quality, this is an utmost priority as the demand has always been to acquire the best instrument in terms of playability, durability, and the instrument outlook and appearances. Music cottage industry not only generates the economy, but contributing to giving jobs to people, especially in villages or rural areas. These are factors to sustaining the family or the household income while promoting the arts, the culture, and tourism in the country. Therefore, it's timely that music cottage industry should be observed as an important business sector in music industry. It's time to transform the cottage industry to an organized business enterprise to create more music entrepreneurs in music instrument making. To friends and audiences out there, I hope this series of knowledge sharing brings you an in-depth and beautiful insights of what's happening in the music world today, particularly when we address and associate music with community, the cultural and musical system, the ethnicity and technology. Music is an architecture of sound. Music is a geometry in time. Music locates the social and cultural boundaries and ethnicity. And most of all, music is the arts. Music is the humanities. Music is the science. And music is the technology. So let it work together. Thank you, and till we meet again.